What's up, everybody? How's it going? Another wonderful day. I'm gonna do some mundane tasks today. And while I'm at it, I guess I'll do the 3x3 challenge that Muzzle Mike called me out for. I'll do that today. And anyone on my channel that doesn't know what the 3x3 challenge is, it's 3 things that no one really knows about you, and 3 people that you shout out to do it next. Mike did his. He shouted out his 3 people first. I think I'm going to do that a little bit different. I think what I'm going to do is I'll shout out one, and then say one thing, and then basically talk about one thing, and the next shout out to the next person, and we'll go from there. This is still a mess. And that cop is sitting there just for the sole purpose to make sure everyone stops. So, who's the first person I'm going to shout out? I'm trying to think of who I know that hasn't been called out yet. 3x3, let's see here. I'm going to shout out a couple random people that I don't think everyone watches. Trying to think here. Who do I know that's actively making videos? I think what I'll do is, matter of fact, he just joined my Discord channel today, which just gives me a good opportunity to talk about it. His YouTube channel is City Rider. He's over Middle East somewhere, and his channel's pretty new. He just got a bike not too long ago. His videos have been kind of sporadic, but I think he'd like getting the shout out for the 3x3. So that's the first one. Now, one thing about me. Now, it's a little bit difficult for me to do this because I don't really hide that much from people I know on YouTube. Anyone who's known my channel's been around since like 2006. And it's went through a couple changes. But so I think what I'll do is I'll go with work experience. I kind of keep that kind of not real common knowledge. Some of my close friends know, but not everyone knows what type of work experience I've had over the years. So, for the first job slash career, I guess you could say, outside of what I did while I was in school and what I kind of do now. Anyway, I was a CNC machinist. I ran a horizontal milling machine that was computer controlled. And it was production work. I did that for 4 years because when our high school was one of the ones that still offered vocational classes. And I was like every other boy. I wanted to do auto mechanics, but the way our district always did for the electives, they wouldn't buy your last name by your letter. And because my last name starts with an H, I was pretty far down the list to pick my electives. And pretty much how that worked was your junior and senior year, you pretty much was auto locked in for those electives, because you had to take that elective for 2 years to get the certificate to say, hey, I took this. So there was no point in me doing machine tool technology for my junior year, and then if I could do auto mechanics for my senior year, because I would have just had 1 year in each and I wouldn't have got a certificate. So I went ahead and did the 2 years, got to say, hey, you know, this is what I can do. They give you this little official looking, I don't know, it looks almost like a like a bookmark that just has a list of everything that I tested on and I could run, which is pretty much all the hand operated machines. We had, you know, we had the vertical bandsaw, the horizontal bandsaw, a bunch of World War II era lathes. We had a manual horizontal milling machine, and we also had what was called a shaper. Now, a shaper is something that kind of came before milling machines, and I mean, this is old technology, buddy. I remember we used to have to for the period of time that we used a shaper. That was the concept of having it, and that's what he said. You know, throughout the 2 years you take it for this elective, you know, you're going to get to run every machine in here. And the shaper was something we did for our senior project. One of our senior projects was we made a hex nut. We found our material, you know, we picked from our materials, we shaped, you know, we made it, and we made a gear out of aluminum, and we made a hex nut. And the shaper we used to make the hex nut, to make the outside or corners. And I'm gonna let you go. You shouldn't be out there anyway, you asshole. Shouldn't be out there anyway. So yeah, I did machine shop for my first, or I was a CNC machinist for, I guess you'd say, my first actual job I had longer than, from being out of school and having for longer than a year. Okay. I knew it was going to be difficult making this video. I like to fucking ramble, so so the second person I'm going to call out, I got to remember who hasn't done one yet. I think oh, let's see here. I know who I'll do. He hasn't done videos in a while, but I'll shout him out anyway. His channel is Two Wheeled Yena. Let's see here. Next thing I've done. But I'm getting past you. Let's see here. Second type of career choice I did. There was a period of time I was kind of in between jobs. And I went and worked. I worked in the, I guess you'd call mold injection for plastics. I worked at 2 places for doing that. One place I drive by every day on the way to work. It used to be called RXI Plastics. But I actually worked at that place twice. The first time I worked there was when it was RXI, and another company came through, bought it out, and when the other company bought it, pretty much everyone that wasn't full-time or been there longer than a year, they laid them off. Well, I was there for, I think it was 6 months. I was getting ready to get hired on, and company came in, bought them, and everyone that was there less than a year and wasn't full-time, gone. Which that kind of sucked. I actually didn't mind that job. Let's see here, third person to call out. I should have really sat and thought about who I wanted to call out before I set out to do this video. But I'm just like, YOLO, let's do it. I don't think anyone shouted him out yet. And he's a newer channel too. So let's go ahead and shout out Blue Bike and Doyle. At least I think that's how his channel is. You have been selected to do the 3x3. I hope you haven't done it yet, or haven't been shouted out yet. So let's go ahead and do it the third thing. The third thing I do for a living, which I currently do and have done off and on for years. I currently am what's called a service technician. I am in-home repair. I work on appliances. I'm one of those people you call when your washer screws up. And I either give you the good news or the bad news. I can either cost you a lot of money or save you money. What the hell is he reading? He's got a full-size sheet of paper on his horn. Anyway, I go out. I work for a company. I don't work for myself. I started out in this line of work working with my dad. I've been in this, I guess you would say, type of industry since I was in grade school. I always told people, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't have normal summers because my dad grew up my dad grew up on a farm, like majority of kids did. The majority of kids' parents did, but my dad didn't farm. But he still had the whole, you're not gonna sit around the house when you're not at school, and you're gonna do something. So when I was in like fourth or fifth grade on my summer breaks, my dad used to, or well, he's since retired. But when he did he did used appliances. He did service, and he sold used. He would pick them up, and we would clean them up and fix them if they wasn't too far gone. And that's how I grew up around that. And actually, another reason why I just willingly went and worked with my dad at such a young age is because my dad was not home a whole lot when we were young, and I figured the best way to get to spend time with him was to go with him. And he used to just take me with him, and then once I got older, I started doing deliveries with him, and then started working with him, and I did that all through high school, all through junior high, high school. I was getting paid in junior high. I had money at one time, guys. What's up, man? We I was getting paid, and I remember I bought my first stereo system with the money I got paid. So I've kind of worked a job ever since I was like 12, 13 years old, and I did it willingly. I did it willingly, and I did it till pretty much after I graduated, and then my dad, said, you want to keep doing it, or you want to try and do something else, or and I said, well, I want to try and do something else, and that's when I went to a deco, and it was a temporary agency, and that's how I started, got my foot in the door at RXI. That's how I got my job at Tri-State, where I used to work. That was the machine shop, and that first experience, I had a pretty good experience with temp agencies, but I know later on I tried to go back, and pretty much you gotta take whatever they give you the first time you come back. They don't care what type of work experience you have. Like a deco, they they basically said, we can't help you because they're. I guess you can say my work experience was too specified. I guess that's how they put it, because I worked at that machine shop for 4 years, and I quit that place, and that was one of the places they still did temporary agencies for, and they figured that since I quit them, they wouldn't want me back. And then I went to Manpower, which got me a job working at Cabela's I worked at Cabela's for about a month. Their night stock. And the way that place fucking works is they work you for about a month through the busy periods, and then what it is, they basically say, "Oh, we don't need you anymore. Go back to your temp agency and ask them where they want you to go next." And I went back and laid the temp agency. I said, "Well, do you want to go back?" I said, "No." And that was the end of Manpower. So then, lo and behold, I went back and worked for my dad for another 7 years. And then, how I get on where I work now is my dad knows them, and they actually asked one day if me or my brother could come up and help them. And that was 9 years ago, and I'm still working there, so I guess it ain't all bad. Thanks for watching, guys. I know this is really long, but I couldn't help it. By the way, that's one of my new toys. Thanks for watching, guys.